Evening guys, Josiah here at easycaters.com, and today I just wanted to do a quick review video of a trade I did today on NVIDIA. NVIDIA has been a little bit in the news lately because of the whole AI thing and DeepSeek and China and whatnot. And so it's kind of been in play, and also I think it had a hard drop, maybe on some earnings, something like that. I don't really track that kind of thing very closely, but um, in any case, it's a good example of a phenomenon I trade, and I thought I'd show you guys what that looks like. So this is some of my executions on the Thinkorswim platform. I also had other executions on TradingView, and TradingView has slightly different capabilities on their Fibonacci tool, and that's what I use to find these levels. So I just wanted to show it over here first of all. TradingView has logarithmic Fibonacci's, and so and I think essentially what that means is that the ratios are ratios of percentages, not ratios of prices, and so that's the main difference. But what I actually look for, and this is I call this the highest probability trade that I've been able to find so far. This is something I look for where we have an accumulation range, and I project that 2x to find a potential target. And there's some certain characteristics that I look for in each of those ranges, the bottom third, the middle third, and the upper third. But one of the highest probability trades I've ever found is this particular trade right here, where you're in the upper third, about to reach target on the longer time frame, and on the shorter time frame, you've reached up into this top third of the top third. If you see here, there is a let's see if I can do this, a top third right here, but it also has its own top third up here. And so today on NVIDIA, as we're nearing the end of the week, my expectation is that NVIDIA is nearing a target. And this is the target that I had projected. And NVIDIA had moved up into the premium range, this upper third of the final third of the distribution range. And what I usually find is that once we've neared a target like this, we pull up into the premium zone, the upper third, and then we oscillate back down to the lower third. This is a very high probability buy right here, because the target's right here, and you know exactly where it is, and this formation just seems to occur like clockwork. A lot of times you'll see it run up to the midpoint of the upper premium range, and then oscillate back down, sweeping under these lows here, as you can see right here, taking out that liquidity before finally running up to the target. And that's on purpose, I believe, because it's basically building some last minute liquidity to then harvest that they can then use to propel it up to that final target. They need that liquidity to get it to the target. And so before they actually reach for that target, they stop, pause it, build some liquidity right here, harvest it, and then push it up to the final target after the short-term holders have been washed out and all that kind of thing. So I look for that setup, and that was occurring today, this morning on NVIDIA. And so you can see here we dropped down, harvested that liquidity at these lows, and then we just started setting up this kind of triangle, I don't know what you want to call it, wedge, something like that. This is not really something that I really like to look for or anything, and I would really prefer it to just to buy in and then go straight to target. But I think what this formation really serves for is that it allows them to exit even more shares up in this area by providing this kind of cliff or this ledge for them to push price beyond. And that results in a lot of buying, and they need sells up here in this premium zone. And so that allows them to exit their position as people buy it up this last little bit. And so you can see it was kind of grinding all the way up here because this is all them selling. They're selling up in this premium zone, and this is the final target up here. And so they, just let it grind up here. Then they sweep everybody out again and grind it up again. Finally reach the target, and wham, turns around on a dime. But anyway, so these are some of my executions here from early this morning. I got in, got back out here, then re-entered several times here. Came down near or just below my average price right here. And then, but I was confident in what it was doing, held on to it, and sold pretty close to the top up here. It was a pretty efficient exit on that. And then over here in Thinkorswim, you can see my other entries. I added a couple of shares here just before this dump, so that was not ideal, but I thought it was just going to continue on up here to this target, and so I just added a couple more to hold on through that. But it pushed a little bit further, but then dropped off a cliff. That's fine because my average price for both accounts was still down in here somewhere. And so I bought a couple extra shares down in here, still confident that it was going to reach the target, and started exiting them as we went above this high right here. We got up here and it was after the close, or after 3:30, I think. Yeah. So I was just a little, I was wondering right here if they were actually going to get there this evening or if it was going to wait till tomorrow. So I started selling it here, but it ended up pushing through at this point. So then I went ahead and exited the rest of it up here. And you can see on TradingView the same thing right up here at the highs. So, so again, this is, as far as I know, this is like the highest probability trade I've ever found. And in some ways, I kind of hate it because this trade is really just this last little bit of a huge move that's already happened. It's just a tiny trade unless you zoom into the smaller time frame. So it's not, you're leaving a lot on the table just by trading this. But it's so high probability that anytime I see that, I have to take it pretty much because at this point, I think I'm, almost certain what's happening. And so anyway, that's what I did today. I've been missing out on some of this move because I'm actually long-term thinking that NVIDIA is heading lower. And you can see here I have a short setup here. It reached one target on the short setup, and I was assuming that it would reach for the second target eventually after oscillating back to this area up here. And so we did oscillate back up into this area. So I don't know if tomorrow we'll finally reach that, tap that, and then maybe next week drop down some more. I'm not really sure what's going to go on, or maybe it's reached the furthest low target that it's going to reach. I'm not sure, but that was what I was looking for. So I wasn't really aggressive through here, and I was also watching Bitcoin at the time as well. But I did see this morning. This was a nice setup, and it seemed obvious enough, exactly what I look for in these, and so I was able to take advantage of that. So whenever you see these, look out for them. When price is nearing a final target, a lot of times it will do one of these, reach up at a premium, oscillate back into discount, sweep below the lows, and then run up to the target. So anyway, hope that's interesting, you guys, and I will talk to you next time.